we are moving right into Raul Marin, the DJ Rumba, who I can now call author. And I am so excited to be able to bring him up on our little platform here and say hello. How are you?
Hello, my friend. I am so honored to be here with you. This has been absolutely amazing. I mean, who thought you could celebrate Christmas in July? Leave that to Elena Rodriguez.
Me, I love Christmas. Anytime, anytime. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you.
See you.
So I'm just gonna like be out with it. We met in May.
Yes.
And even before we met in person, you had started making me feel so welcome about the event that I was going to see you at and that I was going to, and that was huge. But that just says so much about your heart and who you are as a person. So tell everyone that is watching a little bit about you and what you're doing now.
Well, thank you for this platform. I absolutely love it. And I hope that I can see this being an annual thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Just in person with the team and lots of people.
Yes. You know, my quick message to everybody is when life throws you at the wolves, you have the power within you to come back as the alpha. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
To start. My professional journey started with me wanting to make it to Hollywood. I so wanted to be an actor. I still love the arts, everything about it. And so I wanted to go to college to be an actor, and I studied it for a year, absolutely loved it. And then reality started to hit on me, you know, that as much as I love it, I'm not getting any work from it. So, so I had to switch gears, and I thought, well, the next passionate thing that I have in my mind after acting is music. You know, I'm not talented enough to play an instrument, but I just love, you know, music in general. And so I started to study radio broadcasting, and I did really well with that. And when I got to my last semester, I had the opportunity to DJ on the college's radio station, which was at the time, it wasn't AM or FM, it was online radio. And after I did my first show, I had another crossroads moment in my life, because my professor told me after I did my first show, everything was great about your show. I love the energy. You spoke clearly. Everything is nice and dandy, and I could feel there was a but coming. But I just need you to do one thing for me. And he told me, I need you to Americanize your name. And I'm like, deer in the headlights, like, yeah. What?
Americanize my name.
Americanize my name. Like, I can't process this right now. And I remember him asking me, like, are you okay? And I said, yes, professor. Can you say that again? He said, I need you to Americanize your name. It's gonna sit better with our listeners. And it's okay if you don't have one right now. We'll think of one for you. But great job in the studio. Great job. Shake his hand, and I'm walking down the hall, and I'm just like, wow, like acting didn't go well, and now I have this bomb that he's just dropped on me about. The only way I'm going to continue is if I Americanize my name. I talked to my family about it. They're absolutely irate, and they're like, you know, don't take your name too far off from your name. I'm like, how about Ralph Martin? And I said, well, Ralph doesn't exactly sound radio name. Like, I said, I don't know what I'm going to come up with, but I'm not going to let this keep me from achieving my goal of finishing this program, because obviously acting didn't go well. So I said, whatever it is, whatever happens, I'm just not gonna fail from this, right? And so I go to class, and so he asked the class, so we need to come up with an American name for Raul. And so he wrote 3 names on the board. To this day, I still don't remember the other 2, because I remember the one that stuck, right? So everybody, majority of the class, and there were about 13 of us, majority of the class voted for my radio name to be Chris Martin, AKA
Chris Martin?
Chris Martin.
Okay, okay.
AKA the same name of the lead singer of Coldplay, Chris Martin. Like Chris Martin. So that's who I was on the radio.
And how did that feel? Like, I'm hearing this for the first time too, and knowing you as where you are and what you're doing today, I'm like going, Chris Martin. Okay, what the heck?
When I was in the studio, I just felt like I was talking to the world. There's just an amazing feeling when you're. I've heard people call it flow. You do something without even trying. You could close your eyes and just do it. I was flowing in that radio station, even though my name was Chris Martin.
So how many years did you do that, or how long did you do that, or?
So I was Chris Martin for that fall into summer semester. After that, I tried to find work with radio, and I ran into another crossroads. You see the recurring theme here.
Yeah.
Life is about me getting to a difficult decision to make, but you sticking to my gut and sticking to my values, my beliefs, and just pushing forward. I had interviewed with an up and coming popular radio station, Latin station, which I thought was my passion, because that was the type of music I had the most familiarity with. And I had a decision to make. Either I take the job that they're offering me to be a graveyard shift board operator, which basically meant just push the buttons and make sure everything's flowing from 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. when the morning show crew comes along again. Or I take a once in a lifetime, hopefully not for me, I certainly hope to go back at some point, trip to Europe.
Yeah.
Because, I had just graduated college. My parents were celebrating 25 years of marriage. And my younger sister had just turned 15, which for those of you in the Latino culture, that 15 is quite the special birthday.
Yep.
My sister didn't want to have anything to do with a quinceañera party. She wanted to go to Europe.
Okay, gotcha.
I said to the guy who interviewed me, I said, I'm ready to start today, but I've got this 2-week trip to Europe, 1 week in Spain, 1 week in Italy. He said, that's great, but I can't promise you that the position is still going to be here for you when you come back.
Okay. And it was, or was not?
And it was not.
Okay.
It was not.
Okay.
And so I meet an old friend who was working at the time for a contractor who contracted, lots and lots of DJs. And he invited me to join. And that was my start. That was my I literally got thrown to the wolves. Like, I didn't have any type of formal training. It was just me going out I went to shadow, two DJs, just watch how they do it. And that was my training.
Wow.
But then the third time, he was like, you're on your own, go. And, I learned anything and everything and saved everything that I made with those 2 years and change, because I knew that I was good enough at it. I was passionate about it. I could really connect with the audience through music. And it's just, and I've said this to people, there's just no better feeling. And DJs know what I mean. Like, when you're in the heat of the party, you're playing an amazing song, and you can just feel that energy from the dance floor coming to you, where you can't even see the dance floor because people are just so happy. Fist pumping, hip shaking, toe tapping, whatever you call it. I
love it.
The most amazing feeling. I said, I can do this, on my own terms. So after 2+ years, I had the conversation with the guy. I said, thank you for this opportunity, but I'm ready to move on. He wasn't happy with that, because I was his only Latino DJ.
Okay.
So he begged me to stay. Told me he'd raise, my my pay and all of these things. But I was said, no, I'm ready to do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And 17 years later, here I am.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. So then I'm curious to know, because I know this backside of you as far as your writing. So when did that find its way into your transition? Because you're the perfect example of what people need to recognize as that flow. Like let who you are just be, you know? So when did that piece start coming in?
Leave it to the pandemic for me to discover that side of me.
Okay.
That's
That would make sense when everything kind of just shut down. Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
I was in a funk in my life, you know. For the longest time, you know, I had that imposter syndrome in my head. Who's gonna read my writing? Why should I write? I'm a loser anyway. I'm still single. I get asked all the time, when are you gonna meet with a girlfriend? When are you getting married? Every family gathering, it was the same question. Where's the girl?
That question comes and it's like, sometimes you want to answer like, well, if I knew, it's like, if I knew the answer, it's like those questions sometimes just blow my mind. Anyway, that's a side note, but keep going.
So I had that, that negativity in my head, and and when you allow that negativity to block you from where you should be, you don't see it. You don't see a better path for you. You just think, I'm just going to be here in my corner and just be a loser because life clearly wants me to be single and not care about myself. And I meet somebody that you guys heard earlier, Jose Escobar. He invited me to join this program that was focused on mind, body, spirit. That absolutely flipped the switch in my head about how much I need to focus on me and how important mind, body, spirit connection really is.
Nice.
I thought I loved God, but that experience wow. Every time you think you've given God what you've got, there is always an experience that opens your mind and heart even more. And it was in that program that through an hour of 8 daily exercise, journaling, prayer, checking in with myself every day. Like, it's okay if today didn't go the way I wanted it to, but you're still alive, you're still breathing, you still have plenty of time to plan and prepare for what's ahead.
Yeah.
Think about that. Let that be your motivating, influence about why you do what you do every day. And
when you say that, check in with yourself every day, how many people can honestly, if we're all being honest, say that they do that on purpose, on purpose to check in with yourself? You'll check in with this person or you'll check in on that, but it's like check in with yourself. So that is huge that you just shared right there.
It's huge. And to this day, I don't stop doing it. It's your time. Everybody has a me time in their own separate, unique way. For some of you, that might be riding your bike, like I heard you talking about earlier. You're riding your bike. For me, it could be journaling. For somebody else, it could be spending time with your kids. You know what fills your heart with that, and it's deeper than happiness. It's like joy, because you wake up and you look forward to it every single day.
Yeah. So during that pandemic, and then you started the program, and tapped into things. Is the journaling, is that what got you writing, or how did that happen?
Journaling definitely inspired me to go next level with the writing, because I always had a warm place in my heart for poetry. And so I said, in addition to journaling, I'm just going to start writing poetry, because I feel like when I write poetry, I'm speaking from the heart to everybody that listens and reads. And next thing I knew, I said to my family, you guys have been pushing me for years to write a book. So I'm telling you now, I'm going to write a book. on
Mhm.
poetry. You know, they were happy, but a little bit disappointed at the same time because
Disappointed. Disappointed. Why? Because it was poetry, or because like what? Why?
my mom is of the mindset that you know, she's a little bit old school and that she doesn't really read poetry. She's
Mhm.
more of the I like to read personal growth types of things. So
Mhm.
she's thinking, you know, I'm going to write a book like this. You know, yeah, I certainly have the potential in me to write a book like that eventually.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact that I told them that I was in the planning of writing a poetry book just to start, I mean, that was very encouraging to them to see,
Nice.
and they could see that the transition in my mood and in my love for myself, because you know I took that much more pride in what I would do every single day, and they could just tell my spirits were lifted. I was always in a better mood, which I've always been. You know, people see my smile; they always see my smile, right? But behind that smile, for a long time, there was that, you know, doubt of myself that, well, I am still the single guy, or
Mhm.
I'm gonna smile
Yeah.
to, you know,
Wow.
I'm smiling because I'm happy with what I'm doing in my life.
So when you started writing your poetry, and then the concept of the book came up, did you find that you had poems ready to go that made up a book, or did the idea of a book come and then you started writing poems specifically to go in the book?
The letter,
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. There
So
was
is there a common theme or a common topic on the poems in the book?
the three G's: gratitude, growth, and greatness.
Love it. Gratitude, growth, greatness. Oh my gosh, elaborate on that. Like, how did that come to be? I love that. I didn't know that. I love that.
You know, I don't like to see it as, you know, I think the cup is half full or the cup is half empty. I'm just, my cup is full of gratitude.
Mhm.
You know, that just that one shift, major shift in your attitude about you and life in general, like it can open your eyes.
Mhm.
You know, good things, bad things, everything has that teaching moment.
Mhm.
Everything has its divine purpose. And as difficult as things may seem, you know, my God is just, he never leaves me. You know, I've heard that expression, you know, circle around many times, that like when the student is testing, the teacher or the professor, he's watching.
Mhm.
And you know, that's been my key for this complete mental shift, mindset shift. You know, I wake up every day with gratitude. Um, and something that I learned from doing Jose's morning and evening routine program as well was giving myself a high five in the mirror. I'd never done such a thing. When I first did it, I thought it was crazy. Like, me, give myself a high five.
Yeah.
Okay. But then it was like, when you start to think deeper and you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, wow. And I highly recommend reading Mel Robbins' book based on that habit, the high
Mhm.
five habit. And
Mhm.
she said she had that same, you know, uh, eye-opening moment. It's like, there's two people in the bathroom. There's
Yes.
you and your reflection.
Yeah.
Your reflection is waiting for you every single morning to greet it. And
That's beautiful.
that
Like, yeah.
that's gratitude for me. Like, I see you, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Mhm.
Boom. I mean, you can hit the glass if you want to. I mean,
Just
but
not too hard. You don't
not
need to
too
like
hard.
shatter no mirrors.
It's not too hard. So that's the gratitude part. Growth. Um, you know, Jose has really, and again, I've mentioned his name. So many of his programs have really shifted my mindset so much, and that learner mentality, growth mentality. You know, there's never really a finish line, because if you're devoted to growing personally, spiritually, mentally, professionally, in any aspect that you want to grow, it's your lifestyle. So you never have this like, well, I'm here and I'm done and I'm perfect. But just keep growing because there's always something to learn. There's always something that the world needs from you. And I've always been that type of person that I feel more grateful and I feel more joy when I give of myself to others who might not be feeling as joyful, but I want them to feel joyful. So for me, that's the grow to share joy. And who knew that good, it could be an enemy of something, and good is the enemy of great.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, don't just be good, be great.
Wow.
All the poems, I would say, they center on those 3 G's: gratitude, growth, and greatness.
That's amazing. That's truly beautiful. Now I know it's available like for pre-order. It's still pre-order, right? It's not released yet.
It's around, the release date's around the corner, but you can still pre-order.
Nice.
Raulthepoet.com.
Be sure to put the link on my page. That way, if anybody wants to go, because you and I were talking, and I'm just going to share this. You and I were talking, I don't know, messaging. It could have been almost a month ago that we were on this topic. And one of the poems, I said, I want to have this thing blown up in like typewritten fonts and hanging on my wall.
Yes.
It was amazing. And I am going to do that. You watch. Because it just, it's a gift to be able to capture emotion and feeling and thought in simple words.
Yes.
And that's an art of yours. Amazing.
Thank you.
So what do you see happening from this? What do you see forward from where you were to like, what's next for you?
Definitely speaking on multiple stages. I think poetry is really something special that it just it hasn't been given enough love and attention.
And why do you think that is?
I think that the perfect example of the book again, right? It's like we judge books by the cover so many times. Whether how big it is or the cover, that same old stereotype. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yep.
Not everybody. I mean, it's hard to tell somebody, do you know a poet? Unless you really read, maybe you could answer the question. So I don't know why historically speaking, poetry has just been given the cold shoulder as far as being writers who also have plenty of knowledge and wisdom to share with the world. Which is how I got my name of Wise Wolf.
Yes, and I want you to speak on that just a little, because that's for people that have ideas or that struggle to make sense of certain things, when you do open yourself up to just receiving, what is it here to tell you? The concept that you came up with for yourself is, I love it. It's amazing. And it's just evidence that when the things come to you, there's a purpose behind it. So share that, Wise Wolf.
There really is. And when I really was in that moment of, okay, there's definitely a book in me coming, and there's going to be many more books coming. I want to embrace this new artistic side of me. So I don't want people to just remember me as my name. So I said, let me think of an artistic name for this. And I'm like, let me ask Google what my name means. And sure enough, the most common result says Wolf Counsel. Counsel spelled as Counsel. Okay, I like the wolf, and counsel reminds me of a counselor. Counselor is a very wise and giving person. So then I was like, okay, light bulb moment. let me swap the counselor with Wolf. And I'm like, I can, and then Wise Wolf, it just hit.
And then it's like, so move over everybody, because here I come, right?
Here I come. So, you know, I truly find myself in this Wise Wolf persona as being somebody who wants to inspire you. If you want to be a writer, I want to help you be a writer. If you're
Nice.
kind of in that funk where you're like, you haven't, and I think all of us deal with imposter syndrome at one point or another. We know that we have to get, it just takes 30 minutes a day to really remind your body that, you know, I'm here, I'm present, and I'm, you know, and I'm contributing to that mind, body, spirit connection.
Yes.
I've really learned that, you know, when one of those three is out of sync or out of order, you're just not who you are.
Right.
Not
Right.
gonna
It's all out of order. If one is, it all is, right?
all is. And
Now,
yeah,
you mentioned, because the mind, body, and spirit, you're doing something around like the physical aspect as well. That's transitioned through all of this as well, right? What is that?
so I recently finished 75 hard. It took me 3 times to do it, but I finally did it. Yay.
Woo-woo.
And I received a lot of very encouraging, inspiring messages from people along the way that I was inspiring them to do it, for them to do a modified version of 75 hard on their own.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, well, this is the best time for me to personally encourage and inspire people to do it with my own program. So I took 75 hard and the mind, body, spirit program that I first did with Jose at the beginning of the pandemic, combined those two together, and I basically came up with a modified version of 75 hard, and I called it Hungry Wolf 35.
Nice.
And I said, you know, eventually I would love for people to be inspired to do 75 hard, but first, especially if it's the first time people are doing it, you want to start with baby steps.
Yeah.
Let you know, remind yourself that you can do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's my perfect setup or warm up for people to feel even more inspired to try 75 hard.
Very nice. Now, in that, is it a physical aspect, but is there any writing? Like, do you encourage writing exercises in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reading is part of that, part of the challenge, but so is journaling, and whichever people prefer to do. If you're a person of prayer, there's some time for you to do prayer. If you're more of the meditation, you can do meditation. If you're neither and you want to do breath work, I mean, by all means, do breath work. But I want people to have that time for either
Very
of those
nice.
things within the
Yeah.
challenge, as well as journaling.
That's amazing. So looking back, like if there were somebody that's tuning in and watching us right now and that just feels really confused about what is next on their path, or that they don't have, you know, they don't have any talents or they don't have any skills, what's your advice to them to tap into just being open to letting it flow? Like, what would you tell them?
The key is to checking in with yourself every single day, even if it's 2 sentences, 3 sentences. Let yourself know that you're in a process right now. It's not going to take, you know, it's not going to take 2 to 3 days. Sometimes it might take you months. Sometimes it might take you years. But you start today, and every day you know, there's that saying that you can't change the past, but you can rewrite how you finish.
Yes.
And so remind yourself, you know, you're in this process. You're going to learn through it. You're going to grow through it. You're not alone. But it does start with you just reminding yourself today, I am great. I am working towards my dreams, my goals. And so check in with yourself every single day, and you'll notice as you progress with this daily, you're gonna find that you look forward to that moment with yourself every
Yes.
time, because that's going to be your reminder of what's ahead for you.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And it's all about checking in with yourself. You ask somebody else, how are you doing today? And you wait for their answer, but you don't ask yourself and wait for your own answer. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a, everybody take note, get your notebook and ask yourself, hey, even text yourself, how are you doing today? We're more apt to answer people's text messages. So just be like, how are you doing today? Well, let me tell you.
exactly.
Love it. Thank you, Raul, for joining me today, and congratulations on everything that you're doing. And you are just like the most amazing friend and person. And I'm thankful that you're in my life today. I appreciate you.
I am so thankful for you. You are inspiring so many of us every single day. Just completely honored to support this amazing achievement. I mean, this whatever happens the rest of the day, I'm still going to be listening. Thank God you still haven't had the lawnmowers guy has not affected your event. Wi-Fi is rolling. I mean, you
good.
the message that you were muted. You're unmuted now.
Yeah, it's all good. We're rocking and rolling. So
I am here, and we are here to support you. You are an incredible leader, and we're just blessed to connect and lead with you. It's a privilege.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much love. All right. We'll see you later, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.